Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And surprisingly, the crowd tonight there in Wilkes-Barre was actually pretty decent. You know, from the last time that Monday Night Raw, that WWE was in Wilkes-Barre, it was one of the worst crowds for a Monday Night Raw. But I'm glad tonight the crowd there made, some noise for the matches. But Monday Night Raw tonight, decent show, in my opinion. Really liked tonight's Monday Night Raw. But tonight on the show, we had the Judgment Day. We had Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They ended up taking on Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, the New Day. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Akira Tozawa. Yeah, we all know who won that match. We had a Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match where the winner gets to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. So it was The Miz versus Ricochet versus Ivar versus Bronson Reed. We had the Creed brothers versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. We had a women's battle royal where the winner will get to face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at Survivor Series. So we had Nia Jax, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, Natalya. We had Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Why were they a part of this battle royal when they are the Women's Tag Team Champions? I don't know why. Thought that was pointless to put the Women's Tag Team Champions in this battle royal. So we had Ivy Nile, Indy Hartwell, Nikki Cross, Nikki Stair, like this, Maxine Dupree, Shayna Baszler, Zoey Stark, Tegan Knox, and Raquel Rodriguez, Smiley Raquel. They were the participants in this women's battle royal. And the main event, we had the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Seth Rollins defend the title against SAMI ZAYN. But overall, this was a decent Monday Night Raw tonight. And no, I did not watch Crown Jewel on Saturday, but I did see the results, and I got all my predictions right, except for the pre-show match, which was Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. I said that JD McDonough was going to defeat Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn ended up winning the match on the pre-show, on the kickoff. So aside from that, I got all my predictions right. So Crown Jewel, just by reading the results, was a predictable show, in my opinion. It was so predictable by reading the results that I did not even want to watch the show. So, got my can of Mellow Yellow here. So anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw open up tonight with sing-along time. We had Whoa, Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. So he made his way out, and he got on the mic. He ended up saying, Mohegan Sun Arena, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. And Seth Rollins, he came out, he was wearing yellow, a yellow jacket, yellow pants, yellow and black sunglasses. He looked like a banana when he walked out. So Rollins was like, I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth frickin' Rollins. Rollins went on to say that he is still the World Heavyweight Champion, to which the crowd ended up cheering for him. So Rollins ended up saying that normally he would come out here to talk about himself, but tonight he wants to talk about two other people. He ended up saying that there are two people he needs to thank. He ended up saying that he wants to thank Drew McIntyre. He ended up saying Saturday at Crown Jewel, they beat the hell out of each other. And it's the reason he's not 100% right now. But it's also the reason he's a little better than before Saturday. Rollins ended up saying that the real reason he wants to give props to McIntyre is because he's a man of his word. He ended up saying that McIntyre said he was not in bed with the Judgment Day. And at Crown Jewel, the Judgment Day did not get involved. So Rollins went on to say that after the match, Damian Priest wanted to cash in his Money in the Bank contract on Rollins. And he ended up saying that led him to the second person he wants to thank. But he wants to do it in person. So he ended up saying that if Sami Zayn is back there, he can come out and join the party. So Sami Zayn ended up coming out. Sami Zayn got a nice reaction from the crowd. A loud Sami chant ended up firing up. Rollins ended up saying that he half expected Sami Zayn to come out with Damian Priest's briefcase he hijacked on Saturday. So Rollins ended up saying that he's guessing he showed up at the building today, and Adam Pearce made him return it. Sami Zayn ended up saying that's exactly what happened. Rollins ended up saying that he was in a bad way after the match on Saturday, and that he could have handled Damian Priest on his own, but he also might not have. Rollins then ended up thanking Sami. He ended up saying since Saturday he's been thinking about how he can repay him. Sami Zayn ended up stopping Rollins, and Sami Zayn ended up saying that he's glad he helped Rollins out, and he appreciates that Rollins appreciates that. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he was out there because he's listened to Judgment Day talk about running Monday Night Raw. He ended up saying that's true because they have every title but one, and that is the World Heavyweight Championship. He ended up saying that if Damian Priest cashes in the contract and wins the title, they're not dealing with the Judgment Day. They're dealing with the Bloodline 2.0. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he meant what he said last week. He ended up saying that as long as there is a breath left in his body, he will fight the Judgment Day and make sure they do not run Monday Night Raw. So Rollins was all fired up. He ended up saying this is what he's always loved about Sami Zayn. He ended up saying that Sami Zayn always stands up for what's right, and that it doesn't matter how outnumbered he is. He stands up for what he believes in. So Rollins then started digging that conviction. He ended up saying in life, sometimes people like Sami Zayn don't get what they deserve. He ended up saying that the Judgment Day doesn't run Monday Night Raw. He does. Seth Rollins does. Rollins ended up saying that as long as he's the World Heavyweight Champion around here, that Money in the Bank contract is not only a way to get an opportunity at his title. He ended up saying the reason he knew that Adam Pearce made Sami Zayn give the briefcase back is because he went into the office after Sami Zayn left. He ended up saying that the reason he went to see Adam Pearce is the same reason he wanted Sami Zayn out here. So Rollins ended up saying that Sami Zayn has gotten himself a World Heavyweight Championship match. Rollins ended up telling Sami Zayn that it's waiting for him and that it's got his name on it. He ended up saying all Sami has to do is say when. So the crowd was cheering for that. Sami Zayn ended up saying that Rollins caught him off guard. He ended up saying that he's learned the hard way how hard it is to get a title match in WWE. He ended up saying that the first thing that comes to his mind is when he wins that World Heavyweight Championship, because he will win it one day. He wants to beat a champion that is not compromised. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he means no disrespect, and that he loves Seth Rollins, and that they go way back. He ended up saying everyone knows that Rollins isn't 100% right now. So Rollins ended up telling Sami Zayn to cut the crap. He ended up saying if Sami is 100%, and that they've both been doing this for decades. Rollins wanted to say that guys like them are never 100%, but that doesn't stop them from giving 100%. So Rollins said again to Sami Zayn, there is a World Heavyweight Championship match with his name on it, and that Sami Zayn just had to say when. So Sami Zayn looked Rollins in his eyes, and he was questioning if Rollins really meant it when he says, "Just say when." So the crowd ended up wanting that tonight. So Sami Zayn ended up saying that he can't think of a better place or a better time than right here tonight, to which the crowd ended up erupting at that. Sami Zayn then extended his hand to Rollins. Rollins smiled. He looked around, took in the big reaction from the crowd. Rollins then slapped Sami Zayn's hand, and the match got official. And that was the main event of Monday Night Raw later on in the night. But overall, this was a good opening to Monday Night Raw here. It was a good way to set up a World Heavyweight Championship match between the both of them. But overall, good opening to Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins, good on the mic. Sami Zayn, just awesome. So, but really enjoyable opening. And then we saw Finn Balor. Finn Balor was backstage with Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley, and JD McDonough. Dominic ended up saying that he could watch Logan Paul beat his deadbeat dad over and over again. And yes, Logan Paul is the new United States champion. He defeated Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel. So Dominic ended up saying that, and he also ended up saying that he could also watch Mommy's victory over and over. Of course, Rhea Ripley retained the Women's World Championship. So Damian Priest stormed in with his retrieved Money in the Bank briefcase. Priest ended up saying that he's not happy that Sami Zayn is getting a World Heavyweight Championship match. McDonough ended up saying that it didn't go his way on Saturday. So Priest cut McDonough off. He ended up saying that he knows because it happened to him. So Priest wasn't happy that McDonough was wearing his shirt. And we had Priest end up asking McDonough if he paid for the shirt. So Rhea Ripley calmed them down. Balor ended up saying that they have to fight the New Day. And Priest ended up saying they'll handle them. So that was that. And then we had the first match of the night. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day, versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And this was a good match here. We had Kofi Kingston and Finn Balor started off the match. Both guys locked up. Balor ended up hooking a side headlock on Kofi. Kofi whipped Balor off, but Balor delivered a shoulder tackle to Kofi. Balor hit the ropes. Kofi ended up leapfrogging Balor twice, and he ended up hitting a leaping back elbow to Balor. Balor ended up quickly kicking Kofi, and he ended up going for a monkey flip, but Kofi landed on his feet. Kofi ended up avoiding a clothesline from Balor. He ended up drop kicking Balor down. Kofi then ended up hitting a snapmare and tagged in Xavier Woods. So we had both Kofi and Xavier Woods. They were hitting some rapid fire offense on Balor. And Woods ended up delivering a elbow drop to Balor. Woods ended up going for the cover, and Balor ended up kicking out. Damian Priest then blind tagged in, but Xavier Woods ended up cutting him off. And so Kofi and Xavier ended up hitting Priest with a double clothesline over the top rope. And then Kofi and Xavier ended up taking out Priest and Balor with stereo somersault sentons. So Woods ended up clubbing Priest's chest at ringside. Woods got on the apron, ended up hitting a diving axe handle to Priest. Woods ended up going back to the apron, ended up hitting a diving thrust kick to Priest. Woods ended up getting Priest in the ring, and Priest retreated to the corner. Woods ended up hitting a running forearm to Priest, and he started punching away at Priest. Woods then ended up hitting a thrust kick to Priest's midsection. Priest ended up reversing the whip into the corner, but Woods booted Priest back. Woods then connected with an on roll, and Priest ended up kicking out. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, and we saw Xavier Woods end up taking Balor down with a missile drop kick. Kofi and Priest end up tagging in. Kofi end up taking it to Priest, and Kofi ended up avoiding the South of Heaven from Priest. Kofi was sent to the corner, but he ended up catching Priest with a pendulum kick. Kofi then ended up hitting a diving crossbody block to Priest. He ended up going for the cover, to which Priest ended up kicking out. Kofi then knocked Balor off the apron, and Kofi ended up going for the boom drop on Priest. Priest then avoided the Trouble in Paradise, and he turned Kofi inside out with a clothesline. Balor ended up tagging in. Priest ended up getting Kofi up for a powerbomb, but Kofi ended up sliding off. He ended up crotching Balor on the top rope. Kofi then ended up sending Priest into Balor. Kofi then ended up sending Priest over the top rope, and he ended up catching Balor with a second rope superplex, which was good. So Woods ended up following up with a diving elbow drop onto Balor. So Woods ended up going for the cover. Priest broke up the pin. Priest and Kofi ended up brawling over the top rope. Kofi got on the apron, and he ended up diving, but Priest ended up catching Kofi, and Priest ended up hitting a flatliner to Kofi on the commentary table. Woods knocked Priest off the apron, and he ended up kicking out of a roll-up from Balor. So Balor then ended up hitting the sling blade to Woods, and Balor then tagged in Damian Priest. Priest ended up tagging in Balor, as Priest ended up hitting Woods with the South of Heaven. Balor then went to the top, delivered coup de grace on Woods, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Finn Balor and Damian Priest, the Judgment Day, ended up winning the match. Overall, very good tag team match this was. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond caught up with Drew McIntyre earlier in the night as Drew McIntyre exited his vehicle. Jackie Redmond ended up asking McIntyre what's next for him. McIntyre did not say anything. He got back in his SUV and he drove off. And that was that. But we are getting that slow build for Drew McIntyre's heel turn. It will come at some point. So who knows when. And then we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa was accompanied by Chad Gable and Otis. And this was a squash match. This match was terrible. Nakamura immediately ended up kicking Tozawa after the bell rang. Tozawa ended up flipping through a back suplex attempt from Nakamura. Tozawa took it to Nakamura and hit a German suplex with a bridge to Nakamura, to which Nakamura ended up kicking out, and he rolled out of the ring to recover. Tozawa ended up hitting a quick suicide dive to Nakamura. He then got Nakamura back into the ring. Tozawa headed to the top rope, but Nakamura ended up laying Tozawa out across the top turnbuckle. He ended up hitting a running knee to Tozawa's ribs. Nakamura ended up going to the top rope, but Tozawa ended up cutting him off. Tozawa ended up going for a Hurricanrana, but Nakamura held him up. Tozawa then ended up sitting up. He ended up snapping back to hit a Hurricanrana to Nakamura, to which he ended up going for the cover, and Nakamura ended up kicking out. We had Nakamura end up trying to go for the Kinshasa, but Tozawa managed a roll-up on Nakamura, to which Nakamura kicked out. Tozawa rolled Nakamura up again, and Nakamura ended up kicking out. Nakamura quickly big booted Tozawa down and backed him up into the corner. And then Nakamura connected with the Kinshasa. He ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Nakamura ended up winning the match. Post-match, Nakamura started taunting Tozawa. Nakamura turned and he saw Otis in the ring. Otis ended up taking his shirt off. Nakamura ended up thinking about going at it with Otis, but Nakamura left the ring, and that was basically that. Overall, awful match this was. Squash match. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had a video package on Natalya, where she was saying that she's the most accomplished woman in the history of WWE. And of course, she was in the Women's Battle Royal to determine who will face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at Survivor Series. So we saw that. And then we had Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce was backstage, and he kept saying during his record-breaking title reign, Gunther has made the Intercontinental Championship a must-see event. Which he's right about. Gunther has made the Intercontinental Championship prestigious, and he's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. So Adam Pearce ended up saying, picking his next opponent of the highest importance. Pearce ended up saying that he couldn't deny The Miz an opportunity to add to his Hall of Fame resume, and that brings him to Bronson Reed. Pearce ended up saying that Bronson Reed brought Gunther to his limit on the Raw season premiere, which was a very good match. So Adam Pearce ended up saying that he wouldn't mind seeing that again. I agree with Adam Pearce. I wouldn't mind seeing Gunther and Bronson Reed go at it again. And he ended up saying Ivar's entrance into singles competition has been fantastic, and he wants to see what he can do. Pearce ended up saying as for Ricochet, he has only been improving. He ended up saying that it's time to see if he can reclaim the title he once proudly wore. He ended up saying that this fatal four-way will be a clash of styles, but in the end, we'll have a new challenger for Gunther and the Intercontinental Championship. So this was just Adam Pearce hyping up the fatal four-way to determine who will face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. So that was that. And then we saw Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was walking backstage. Adam Pearce came up to Rollins, ended up asking Rollins if he really wants to do this tonight after his match and war with Drew McIntyre. Rollins ended up saying to Pearce that he appreciates the concern, but he's born to run, boss. So Rollins ain't backing down from facing SAMI ZAYN in the main event. And then we had the Noble Contenders Fatal 4-Way match to determine who will face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. So it was The Miz versus Bronson Reed versus Ivar versus Ricochet. And Ivar was accompanied by Valhalla. And this was a very good match here. The crowd was into this match. Surprised that the crowd was all for The Miz here. And The Miz, I'd say, he did pretty decent here in this match. So as the bell rang, Miz and Ricochet ended up taking it to Bronson Reed and Ivar. They ended up knocking Bronson Reed and Ivar down with some strikes. Miz and Ricochet ended up going at it in the center of the ring. Ricochet ended up hitting a head scissor to The Miz, and he ended up drop kicking him. Ricochet then drop kicked Bronson Reed off the apron, and he turned into a spin kick delivered from Ivar. So Ivar ended up going for the cover, and Ricochet kicked out. Ivar ended up going for the vertical suplex on Ricochet, but he ended up twisting out. Miz ended up going for a roll-up on Ivar, but Ivar didn't go down. Miz then avoided a cannonball, and Ivar ended up taking Ricochet down with a seated senton. And of course, Gunther was watching the match backstage, focusing on who his opponent will be. So Ivar powered Ricochet up. He ended up hitting a front suplex on the top rope. Bronson Reed ended up attacking Ivar and springboarded the ropes to flip Ricochet into Ivar. Ricochet ended up hitting Ivar with a hurricanrana out of the ring, and he landed on his neck, which looked pretty bad. So Bronson Reed was taken out by The Miz. Miz and Ricochet ended up going at it. They ended up taking each other out with a double clothesline. Miz then ended up hitting Ivar with a baseball slide, and then he ended up taking a right hand from Bronson Reed. Ricochet ended up going for a somersault senton on Bronson Reed and Ivar, but both Reed and Ivar caught Ricochet, and they threw Ricochet into the Miz. So both Ivar and Bronson Reed size each other up at ringside. They end up charging. Reed ended up hitting a rolling cannonball on Ricochet. Ivar then avalanched the Miz on the barricade. Both Ivar and Bronson Reed ended up charging each other and then hitting dual run and crossbody blocks, and they took each other out. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Ricochet springboarded off the top rope, but Bronson Reed ended up avoiding that. Ricochet ended up going for a springboard crossbody, but Bronson Reed ended up catching Ricochet and drove him into the Miz in the corner. Reed ended up slamming Ricochet down and avalanched the Miz. Ivar then ended up taking Reed down. Ivar then headed to the top rope, but Bronson Reed ended up cutting Ivar off. Bronson Reed climbed to the second rope for a superplex, but Miz and Ricochet joined in. And we had a powerbomb suplex Tower of Doom, which looked great. Ivar pretty much took the worst of that. So Miz ended up going for the cover on Ivar, but Ricochet pulled Miz off. Ricochet started talking trash to the Miz and shoved him. So Miz and Ricochet were exchanging punches. Miz ended up sending Ricochet into the corner, ended up hitting a patented corner clothesline. Miz ended up kicking Reed back, ended up hitting a springboard crossbody block. Miz popped up, hit Ivar with a twisting tornado DT, and the crowd here was applauding the Miz. They were chanting for Miz to win this. So we had Miz end up going for a skull crusher finale to Ricochet, but Ricochet ended up getting out of that. Ricochet hit the recoil on Miz and ended up going for the cover, but Ivar broke up the pin with a splash on both Ricochet and Miz. Ivar then ended up grabbing Ricochet, but he ended up fighting out. So at the end of the match, we had Bronson Reed and Ivar end up getting up to the apron on opposite sides of the ring. They ended up heading to the top rope because the Miz and Ricochet took each other out with big boots, so both men were down. So both Bronson Reed and Ivar headed to the top rope on opposite sides of the ring. They ended up staring at each other from across the ring. Ivar ended up hitting Ricochet with a moonsault, while the Miz ended up avoiding a tsunami from Bronson Reed. So Miz ended up covering Bronson Reed, and Ivar covered Ricochet. So the ref counted both pins. Ricochet kicked out at 2, and the ref counted the Miz. So pretty much the Miz ended up winning the match. So post-match, the Miz ended up celebrating his win. He posed on the ropes. Ivar was furious. Ivar ended up attacking the Miz from behind. He started kicking away at him. So Ivar was thinking that he should have won the match. But on the replay, it showed that Ricochet kicked out before 3. So the ref ended up counting the Miz for the win. So Ivar headed to the top rope. He ended up hitting Miz with a moonsault, and the crowd ended up booing Ivar. There was chants of "You suck" to him, and that was that. So the Miz is going to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. I'd like to see how the Miz would handle Gunther. All I know is that Gunther is going to flatten the Miz. Gunther will be retaining his Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. But overall, this was a very good Fatal 4-Way match. And the crowd was into it. The crowd, like I said, they were behind the Miz. The crowd wanted the Miz to win this. And he did. But good match it was. And then we saw the Alpha Academy. The Alpha Academy was backstage with Akira Tozawa. Tozawa ended up apologizing to Otis and Chad Gable for losing the match. Chad Gable ended up saying to Tozawa that he warned him about facing opponents too high on the food chain so quickly. He ended up saying that Otis will get revenge when he faces Nakamura next week. Chad Gable ended up telling Tozawa to concentrate on his Heritage Cup match tomorrow night on NXT. So there's going to be a Heritage Cup match tomorrow night. He kept saying that they'll be there to back him up. So Tozawa did his little jig. He danced off, screen. And so Maxine Dupree walked up. And Maxine Dupree is set to compete in the Women's Battle Royal. Chad Gable ended up telling Maxine to take a page from Tozawa and stick to women her size. So Maxine was shown all fired up, ready to go for the Women's Battle Royal. And that was basically that. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had a video package of the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed. As you know, the Creed brothers made their debut last week on Monday Night Raw, where they defeated the Alpha Academy. So we saw the video package of that. Very good match, very good debut for the Creed brothers last week against the Alpha Academy. But they were on NXT the following night. But we saw that. And then we saw Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce, this was done earlier in the day. Adam Pearce ended up signing Brutus and Julius Creed, the Creed brothers, and Ivy Nile to exclusive Monday Night Raw contracts. Pearce was excited to have the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile on Monday Night Raw. And Adam Pearce ended up telling Ivy Nile that she would get a chance at the Women's World Championship in the Battle Royal tonight. So Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, DIY, walked in. They ended up saying that they had been looking forward to a match against the Creed brothers. And Adam Pearce made the match official. So that was that. Creed brothers and Ivy Nile on Monday Night Raw. They signed exclusive Raw contracts here. And then we had the match. The Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Good match this was. And the Creed brothers and DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa worked really well here. Match started off with Ciampa and Julius Creed going at it. Julius ended up taking Ciampa down with a waistlock takeover. Julius ended up hitting another waistlock takeover on Ciampa. Ciampa ended up elbowing out, ended up hitting a snapmare to Julius. Julius ended up avoiding a stomp to the face. He ended up decking Ciampa with a forearm. Johnny Gargano ended up making the blind tag. Gargano and Ciampa ended up taking Julius down with a clothesline. Gargano ended up hooking a front face lock to Julius, but Julius ended up powering up from a seated position with Gargano in position for a vertical suplex, to which Gargano managed to get out of that. Brutus then ended up running in, but he was sent out of the ring. So both the Creed brothers ended up catching Ciampa and Gargano, trying for some dives, and they ended up escaping their grips. So the Creed brothers ended up missing some diving offense, but Julius ended up taking out Gargano with a stiff diving strike. Brutus ended up wiping out Ciampa with a Brutus bomb off the apron, which looked good. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Julius ended up rolling through a 450 splash attempt, and Gargano ended up super kicking Julius down. Ciampa and Brutus ended up tagging in. Ciampa ended up hitting a death press onto Brutus, started punching away at him. Ciampa then clotheslined Brutus down, and ended up hitting Julius with a clothesline. Ciampa ended up hitting a corner clothesline on Brutus, and then Ciampa ended up giving another corner clothesline to Julius. Ciampa then ended up hitting the Creed brothers with double clotheslines. Ciampa ended up getting fired up, ended up hitting Brutus with a reverse DDT. Gargano tagged in, and both Gargano and Ciampa ended up hitting Julius with some stereo kicks. So Gargano and Ciampa end up hitting a double team back suplex clothesline combo. Brutus then ended up catching Gargano, diving at him, and Brutus ended up putting Gargano on his shoulders. Gargano ended up sliding off to the apron, and Gargano ended up going for a slingshot, but Julius ended up catching Gargano. Brutus then ended up hitting Gargano with a Samoan drop, and Julius followed up with a stand shooting star press. Just good spots here done by the Creed brothers. So, at the end of the match, we had DIY, Gargano, and Ciampa. They were set up for meet in the middle. Bruce ended up pulling Ciampa out of the ring. The ref was distracted, and Ludwig Kaiser ended up coming out there. He ended up kicking Gargano in the head, so the referee did not see that. The Creed brothers then ended up hitting an electric chair drop and then the Bruce Ball combo on Gargano. And so there you go. The Creed brothers end up winning the match. Overall, very good match this was between the Creed brothers and DIY. Both teams worked really well here together. The wrestling was good. And the Creed brothers got their second win in their second week on Monday Night Raw. But overall, I enjoyed this match. And then we saw Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was watching footage of the match of him losing to Roman Reigns in February. So Jey Uso ended up coming in. Jey Uso ended up saying that he feels bad about how that went down. Sami Zayn ended up telling Jey to forget about it, and that tonight is important. Jey ended up saying that he believes Sami will be the new World Heavyweight Champion. To which Sami ended up asking about Jey's rematch, and Jey ended up saying that him and Cody will battle the Judgment Day for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship next week on Monday Night Raw. He ended up saying next week they might all be champions. So that was that. So we're getting that match next week on Monday Night Raw. Will not be surprised if that's the main event for next week. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch ended up saying to Jackie Redmond that she'll do what it takes to get a match for the Women's World Championship and Rhea Ripley. So Nia Jax then appeared behind Becky Lynch. Nia Jax ended up telling Becky that no one is putting her over the top rope, so she's going to win. Nia Jax ended up saying that this is the happiest she's been since she broke Becky Lynch's face. Which, if you were to go back and remember moments of Nia Jax, that's the only moment that you'll remember, is her breaking Becky Lynch's nose. And of course, the famous, my hole. So Becky Lynch ended up reminding Nia Jax that she went on to win the main event of WrestleMania. After that, while Nia Jax got fired. So Becky Lynch sarcastically ended up saying to Nia Jax, it's good to have her back. And that was that. And then we saw Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton was backstage with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, the Women's Tag Team Champions. Chelsea Green ended up saying that this Women's Battle Royal has charity vibes. So Shayna Baszler ended up coming up. She ended up saying that she'll tear the first person she sees in the ring, limb from limb. To which Zoey Stark was also with Shayna Baszler. And she ended up saying that she might make Chelsea Green the first woman she sees and eliminate her. Chelsea Green looked scared, and she looked to Piper Niven. Piper Niven then ended up saying that it's every woman for himself. And Chelsea Green ended up laughing. She ended up saying, that's an inside joke with them. So Zoey Stark ended up saying that Piper Niven is right. Shayna Baszler ended up saying that her hand would be raised at the end of this. So that was that. And then we had the Women's Battle Royal. All the women that were in this Battle Royal made their way out. So we had Nia Jax end up coming out first. And then Kaden Carter, Katana Chance came out. Natalya made her way out after them. And then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were out there. They ended up coming out after Natalya. And of course, Samantha Irwin, doing the Chelsea Green. God, it's so cringe when she announces Chelsea Green's name when she does that. It's so awful. And then Becky Lynch ended up coming out after Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And as Becky made her way out, she got attacked by Xia Li from behind. Xia Li knocked Becky Lynch out with a spin kick, which knocked out Candice LeRae last week. So then Adam Pearce ended up running down and some referees. Adam Pearce ended up saying that Xia Li will not be in this match after what she just did to Becky Lynch. So Adam Pearce ended up sending Xia Li to the back. So the refs ended up checking on Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch did not move after being knocked out by the spin kick. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Adam Pearce, referees, and trainers were checking on Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch looked like she was in a daze after being hit by the spin kick by Xia Li. So Becky Lynch was not going to be competing in the Women's Battle Royal. So there you go. The Battle Royal ended up getting underway. Of course, everyone was brawling. And then Nikki Cross was just looking into the distance. She was in a trance. She was in that catatonic state. All she was just doing is... That's all that Nikki Cross is doing. Might as well call her Nikki Trance. That's all she was doing. That. What's going through her mind when she's in that catatonic state? Oh, when is this show going to be over? When am I going to go to bed? When am I going to get my next cup of coffee? When am I going home to see my husband, Killian? That's probably what's going through her catatonic state mind. So then, Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez, Smiley Raquel. Of course, she smiled her way down when she came out. So Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez end up going face to face, and they end up stopping when they saw Nikki Cross in between them. So they grabbed Nikki Cross, tossed her over the top rope. Cross got to her feet, still like this, still in her catatonic state. By the way, this Battle Royal was a clusterfuck. It was awful. I did not even give a shit about this Battle Royal. So, Nikki Cross ended up going over to the commentary table. She was just standing there, still in that catatonic state. Just, Michael Cole was like, oh, well, Nikki Cross, she's standing here. She's staring still ahead. So, Raquel Rodriguez ended up attacking Nia Jax in the corner. Tegan Nox fought off Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Piper Niven ended up clotheslining her down. Chelsea Green ended up putting Tegan Nox over the top rope, and she ended up landing on the apron. Later on, we had Natalya and Raquel Rodriguez. They ended up grabbing Chelsea Green and put her on the apron. Chelsea Green slapped Natalya and Raquel in the face. Raquel then ended up grabbing Chelsea Green by her hair and hanged her over the apron and then shoved her off, and she eliminated Chelsea Green. And then we had, later on, Shayna Baszler, Ivy Nile, Zoey Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. They all teamed up to eliminate Nia Jax, to which I was like, okay, maybe Becky Lynch or Nia Jax would win this, but obviously Becky Lynch was taken out by Xia Li. So I'm like, all right, they're going to make Nia Jax win this. But when I saw Shayna Baszler, Ivy Nile, Zoey Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez eliminate Nia Jax, I was like, thank God. Thank God. Can you imagine Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley? God. And then, by the end, it was Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark going at it. So, also, forgot to mention Ivy Nile. She was eliminated by Nia Jax because Nia Jax ended up pulling her off the apron. So, Zoey Stark ended up kicking Baszler in the face twice. Baszler ended up challenging Zoey Stark for another kick. Stark ended up obligating with another kick, and she had pinned the DDT on the apron to eliminate Shayna Baszler. So, Zoey Stark ended up winning this Women's Battle Royal. something different here. They went with Zoey Stark, but Zoey Stark has zero momentum going into this match with Rhea Ripley. WWE better start building the momentum with Zoey Stark here. And, start building hype for her and having her go against Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series for the Women's World Championship. So, that's what WWE's got to start doing. Start building momentum for Zoey Stark, heading into our match with Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series. But I liked that WWE did something different. They gave the win to Zoey Stark. But overall, this Women's Battle Royal was an absolute clusterfuck. Absolutely fucking awful. But in the end, I liked who they went for in Zoey Stark. And then we saw Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Champion. Jackie Redmond ended up mentioning that Rhea Ripley will face Zoey Stark with the Women's World Championship on the line at Survivor Series. She ended up saying, as for next week, the Judgment Day has to defend the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. So Rhea Ripley began to speak, but she got interrupted by Zoey Stark. Zoey Stark walked up to Rhea Ripley. Zoey Stark ended up saying that she hit Rhea Ripley with the Z360 at Crown Jewel, and she would have been Women's World Champion if it was not for Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley ended up saying that she remembers beating 4 of the baddest women in WWE, including Zoey Stark. She ended up saying that she also remembers giving her an avalanche riptide onto all those bodies. So Zoey Stark ended up saying that Rhea Ripley will remember her as the woman who took her Women's World Championship. So Zoey Stark ended up telling Rhea Ripley to hold on tight onto the Women's World Championship. So that was that. And then they went over what we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw, where The Miz will take on Ivar next week. Tegan Nox will face Piper Niven. Otis will take on Shinsuke Nakamura. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso will face Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. So that's all set for Monday Night Raw next week, which is going to be in Washington, D.C. Main event, Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Very good match this was. Match got underway with Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins approaching each other. Rollins had kinesio tape on his back. Rollins then ended up grabbing Sami Zayn's arm. He ended up wrenching it. Sami Zayn ended up fighting back. He ended up wrenching Rollins' arm. Rollins ended up backing Sami Zayn to the corner to break up the hold. So Rollins then ended up smacking Sami Zayn's chest. Rollins then started smirking at Sami Zayn. The crowd, of course, was going, whoa, singing along to Seth Rollins' song. So both guys locked up. Sami Zayn once again wrenched Rollins' arm. Sami Zayn ended up applying a hammerlock, but Rollins ended up getting an arm around his head and managed to take Sami Zayn down. Rollins then hooked a front face lock onto Sami Zayn. So the crowd started chanting, "Let's go, Sami." Sami Zayn then turned Rollins around. He ended up putting Rollins against the ropes. So we had both guys end up hitting the ropes. Sami Zayn ended up going for a Blue Thunder Bomb, but Rollins ended up getting out of it. Rollins then charged at Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn pulled the top rope down to get Rollins out of the ring. Rollins then grabbed his back in pain. Of course, Rollins and his back problems. So Sami Zayn set up for a dive, and he bounced off the ropes. He landed on his feet because Rollins moved out of the way. Rollins ended up getting into the ring, and he went face-to-face with Sami Zayn. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Rollins started chopping away at Sami Zayn. You know, he backed into the corner, started stomping Sami Zayn down. Sami Zayn rolled out of the ring to recover. Rollins ended up following Sami Zayn, and he ended up chopping Sami Zayn again. Sami Zayn responded with some chops of his own to Rollins. Rollins reversed the whip into the barricade, but Sami Zayn ended up jumping off the barricade, ended up hitting Rollins with a moonsault block. Sami Zayn ended up getting Rollins back to the ring, and he chopped away at Rollins' chest. Rollins ended up managing to take Sami Zayn down. He ended up going for the cover, to which Sami Zayn ended up kicking out at 2. We had Sami Zayn end up going up to the top rope, and he delivered a diving axe handle onto Rollins. He ended up going for the cover, and Rollins ended up kicking out. Sami Zayn ended up pulling Rollins to his feet, started chopping away at Seth Rollins' chest a few times. Rollins then ended up challenging Sami Zayn to hit him harder with a chop. So Rollins started punching away at Sami Zayn's face. He ended up sending Sami Zayn into the ropes. Sami Zayn springboarded over Rollins, ended up hitting a lariat. Sami Zayn got Rollins to his feet, but Rollins then twisted away, ended up kicking Sami Zayn in his midsection. Rollins then ended up taking Sami Zayn down with a clothesline, to which Sami Zayn rolled out of the ring to recover. Rollins hit the ropes, ended up hitting a suicide dive to Sami Zayn. So Rollins then ended up getting Sami Zayn back in the ring. So Rollins ended up taking a moment to recover because he landed hard on his side after that suicide dive. Sami Zayn started taking advantage by wiping out Seth Rollins with a somersault senton. So we had Sami Zayn ended up getting Rollins into the ring. Rollins ended up hitting the sling blade to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn ended up getting up. He stumbled to the corner. Rollins ended up hitting a pair of running forearms to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn followed Rollins into the corner. Rollins ended up avoiding a haluva kick from Sami Zayn. Rollins ended up taking Sami Zayn down, ended up hitting a springboard senton bomb. And he followed up with a springboard moonsault off the second rope. So Rollins ended up going for the cover, and Sami Zayn ended up kicking out. So Rollins ended up fighting out with a Blue Thunder Bomb attempt from Sami Zayn on the apron. Rollins ended up setting up for a pedigree, but Sami Zayn took Rollins out with a back body drop on the apron. Of course, Rollins went back first on the apron. So Rollins then fell to ringside. He clutched his back. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, this was their final commercial. Rollins ended up hitting the ropes for a stomp. Sami Zayn countered with a Blue Thunder Bomb. He ended up going for the cover, to which Rollins ended up kicking out. So we had Rollins end up connecting with a pedigree because Sami Zayn was going for a haluva kick, but Rollins super kicked Sami Zayn back. Then Rollins connected with the pedigree. He ended up going for the cover, to which Sami Zayn ended up kicking out. And the crowd was going crazy during the match here. Rollins was setting up for a stomp to Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn took Rollins down, ended up applying a Boston Crab to Rollins' injured back. So Rollins reached for the ropes. Sami Zayn pulled him away. Rollins ended up pulling the ankle to trip Sami Zayn, and he reversed that into a roll-up. And so there you go. Seth Rollins ended up winning the match, retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. So post-match, Sami Zayn looked disappointed that he lost the match. Rollins pulls himself up. He ended up taking his World Heavyweight Championship. Rollins then looked at Sami Zayn, extended his hand for Sami Zayn to shake it. Sami Zayn then shook Rollins' hands, and he held his arm up in victory. And so as Sami Zayn headed to the back, the Judgment Day and Jaden McDonough ended up coming down and started beating down on Sami Zayn. Rollins then hit the ropes, ended up hitting the Judgment Day with a suicide dive. And so the Judgment Day ended up overwhelming on Seth Rollins, started beating him down. Jey Uso ended up running in. Jey Uso ended up coming out. He ended up attacking Dominic. He ended up hitting Balor with a spear. Damian Priest ended up kicking Jey in the head and started stomping away at him. I'm like, this is the same ending that we got last week. It's the same fucking shit. When the Judgment Day comes out there, they beat down on Sami Zayn. Oh, where's Jey Uso? Oh, here comes Jey Uso. Jey Uso makes a save for Sami Zayn. Oh, where's Cody? Where's Cody? We gotta wait for Cody to come out, so then we get the same ending every single week. Oh, here comes Cody! Here comes Cody! Runs down. Cody runs down, brawls with Damian Priest. And then Adam Pearce comes out to the ring with the referees and also officials. Pearce ended up waving, security down for order to be restored. So Adam Pearce ended up getting on the mic. He ended up saying that he has had enough of the games. If the four of them want to play games, they'll play games in Chicago at War Games. So we had the guys end up escaping the security. They resume brawling. Cody ended up getting in the ring. He springboarded off the top rope onto the pile of security guards and the Judgment Day. And the brawl continued as Monday Night Raw went off the air. So there you go. We got our War Games match. Set in stone. But, it's the same ending every single week. Judgment Day comes out. Beats down Sami Zayn. Jey Uso comes out to make the save. Oh, Cody comes out. It's like, how many times have we seen this ending? Or them going at it? Put an end to it. Let's move on. But overall, very good main event from Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. Obviously, Rollins was going to retain the title. But overall, decent Monday Night Raw was tonight. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you all on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. So, see you all then.